talking about kids, I feel like this would be a great time to talk about circumcision.
Yeah, so it came to me in the summertime about when I was doing a Reiki session, how generation like trauma is first stored in a baby, a boy's system, and their nervous system is through circumcision, and that's carried with them if they don't know that trauma is there or that it was trauma.
Yeah.
Because parents aren't willingly doing it thinking that it's traumatizing their child. And then I was thinking of how many like men are out there sexually assaulting others, whether it be children or women.
Yeah.
But there's an extensive number of men sexually assaulting children, and I seriously believe that it stems from that first sexual trauma, because not only is it a trauma, but it's a sexual trauma because they're taken away from their mother and they are basically sexually assaulted to get the penis erect, and then they're having like the majority of very, I'm like drawing a blank with the word, but there's like a lot of nerves there.
Yeah.
And they're taking part of the penis, which is not supposed to happen.
Taking away the skin, the extra skin,
and they think it's just extra skin, but it's actually
called.
For what we're talking about, I wanted to ask, because you kind of talked about it, what is the point of circumcision? Like, can I reword that? What do they say is the point of?
It's you trim the extra. What you're doing is you're trimming the extra foreskin of your.
It's not extra.
Penis. It's extra. I guess extra skin. And they say it helps like prevent infection. I also will never judge a mother for circumcising their child, but I just think more research should be done because of first of all, the process of it is very traumatizing. I saw one and I was like, let me step away for a second. And also, in every other country, your child is not circumcised. It's an extra step of cleaning for the male figure. That's all it really is.
And it's not even until after they reach puberty. It's literally self-cleaning until it's
so
disturbing.
And if you watch,
I'm so disturbed right now, and not by the whole. It's because of the like.
It is disturbing. It's like having a girl's clitoris cut off. Is this?
But isn't it crazy that? But it's crazy to me that how you said it's an extra like a cleansing step of like cleaning up your baby when we're giving it back to you for the best performance, technically, and it's done for a male, but females, and this is one of those things that. Thank goodness we were treated differently, but isn't it crazy that they take a little extra step in making the male like high performing, but the females, they don't even care. Like, it's just another example to me that like our reproductive things and like our area, like our private areas and things like that, we are kind of just like, nah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wish for this instance it was also like that for the guys. Like I wish the guys were kind of just like left alone for that, but it's. You made that up. And I just think you made that up, the circumcision thing. Like, where did you get that from? That, okay, if we do this, it's going to increase likelihood by, whatever.
You don't even want to go down a rabbit hole of why they do it. It's disturbing why they do it.
Is it for, like, beautification?
It's for their profits. Yeah, they turn that viable glands in there into, like, face, like, they're making money off of
You're talking like it's a celebrity.
They're making money off of the circumcision.
They love
the foreskin.
They love children. Celebrities love children.
They
we'll
do.
Just leave it at that.
In many ways.
They love different parts about. Yep.
They're profiting big time off of the foreskin of your children. It's disturbing. Do your research. Please do your research.
Also, if you watch, you don't have to even enjoy Candace Owens. But I think she's a very good person to go to for this topic, circumcisions. She made a whole episode about circumcisions, and she pulled out facts, like factual information. And I watched it, and
Did you talk about what they do with it? What they do with the foreskin?
Um,
Because I know who Candace Owens is. I listen to her sometimes. Sometimes she hits for me. Sometimes she doesn't, obviously.
Yeah.
But when she is talking about something, I like the way that it doesn't matter who she has to go up against. I don't know how to word this because she's a tricky person to talk about.
Yeah.
But for instance, when there was the attempted assassination attempt, somebody like her you would expect to be on the side of the government, just with how like she does
No,
like,
she
political
is,
views or
yeah.
whatever. But for that, she was like, no,
yeah.
this shouldn't happen. And like the way she went at the people that most people would be scared to go at. So I asked that because I didn't realize what they use it for, the profiting part, and now I'm like triggered because it's just one of those things once again that 1% gets to do under the radar. Because so many of us are distracted by so many other things that they feed to us.
I've honestly never heard that. That was the first time I heard that.
Well, I know that they
But
use-
also, I never finished watching the whole episode of Candace Owens because I was so disturbed and I was terrified to have a boy.
and now in me, I want 6 boys. First of all,
You just say no. You could say
They're
they're
gonna
going to
change-
circumcision.
Never
They
mind.
just
that was just about to be crazy. I was gonna say it, and the way that I was gonna say it is just not like you can't whatever. But I was gonna say like, oh, I'll change the world, like I'll bring out 6 uncircumcised boys, and everyone will get. But then that goes down a different rabbit hole because then you ask yourself, well, then how are they making people aware? And then it just doesn't. No, but I will say this right now: I'm not circumcising my kids. You're not getting their skin.
It's not even just that. If you saw what a baby went through.
Well, I was going to ask this because there's nothing to numb it, right? It's all felt.
So
Oh my
they
God,
give,
it's felt.
It's felt, definitely.
No,
but they give
It's felt for weeks after.
yeah, they give
And it's felt in a specific area that you're now associating with
Pain.
Yeah. So they
that's
give
crazy.
glucose, kind of like sugar on a binky. They put that in the mouth, and then they give them some kind. I forget the name of it, but they put something on there. But it's not
To me, in my unprofessional opinion, it sounds like a load of bullshit. And I'm just saying because what about glucose on a binky?
Right.
Is
Toxic.
equivalent
Yeah.
to I'm going to now cut you
Right.
and
Yeah.
snip you.
And then they put some kind of ointment. I don't know
Do
why
they-
I'm
do
blanking
they-
a
do
name.
they
It's so
stitch it?
early.
No, you have to keep an ointment on it so
Ointment
it
on
doesn't
it.
stick
Yeah,
to the
so-
diaper.
Yeah, so it doesn't stick. So you want to make sure that the
Yeah, my baby can
circumcision.
have that elephant trunk. I don't care. I'm not doing
It's
that.
trauma. It's legit trauma.
Yeah, so you have to like
Yeah,
keep it
story.
moist at all times so it doesn't stick to like.
So it's not ripped when you're changing
Yeah,
the
and so
diaper.
that's giving
More
you very
skin.
natural. No.
It's terrifying and it's trauma and
And of course,
And obviously-
it's the US.
and-
Of course, it's the U.S. Like it's just,
And if my son in the future, or me and Sean butt heads here, but
most men do.
yeah,
because
they're
circumcised.
circumcised. But I don't care. I'm pushing out my child. At the end of the day,
Mhm.
and I'm
You're
not
not-
watching
and
my
baby's
child
gonna stay
going through it.
right here.
Right here the whole time on my chest.
not
I'll
taking
breastfeed the baby so you don't take it.
Yeah.
They can't force you to make you get one anyway. At the
I'm
end of the
sure
day,
that-
it's the mother's decision, but they can try to talk.
Do you know what's crazy is I do believe that there's probably women out there that have stories of saying no, and the hospital did it anyway.
That's why we have to not normalize having babies in hospitals.
No, like I bet, like even my cousin was just saying when she just had her daughter a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe in August or whatever. They took her out the room before everybody realized that she didn't have her bracelets on. She didn't have her
Oh my God.
identification.
Well, that's
She
just
didn't.
not hospital policy, and the hospital will, like, if a matter. It depends. Virtua is so good about, I love Virtua, and they were very good about making sure my daughter and I were, like, both safe in that situation, and so are all the nurses at that hospital, on the floor. Like, I work
See,
with
that's
them
what I
in
think
clinical.
it is.
I
I think it's the people that make up the hospital that kind of determine things like that.
I
You know what
agree,
mean?
yeah.
Like that kind of builds
Yeah.
the structure of a good performing
performing
hospital.
Yeah.
And then if you have like people who do the nursing and the doctor stuff with like a malicious kind of like
look at it.
And if they're getting to the right hospital where they have enough power to like weird,
Yeah.
there's weird nurses and weird doctors out there, unfortunately. Just like in every profession, every career.
Like Good Nurse or whatever.
Oh yeah, I never watched that.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
But I just feel like there's, you know, I don't know. And then also
at the end of the day, this is just coming from a nursing student's point of view. If you are a nurse, advocate for your patient, and you
don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared. Don't put your foot down with the doctor if that's what your patient wants. At the end of the day, if your patient wants that,
you're not taking the baby. She said no.
Yeah,
and if you try, I guess we're all fighting you.
And that makes a good nurse.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever want a visual of that, watch the Derek Shepherd episode of Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
When there's like a nurse who knows that the doctor is like literally killing him,
Yeah.
and she just doesn't say anything and he ends up killing him. Like that needs to be showed. That should actually be shown in little.
Well, okay. Nurses deserve more pay than doctors, I think.
Was it you that was just talking about that the other day?
Probably because
Assistants and nurses and doctors.
not assist. What do you mean, like medical?
We were talking about the pay levels of it's like doctors, then it's nurses, then it's assistants.
Like a medical assistant, yeah.
But was that you I was having that
No.
conversation with?
No. I always talk about nurses' pay, but
No, because I didn't think it was you. I wonder who the one I was talking about
Yeah.
that with.
interesting.
No, 'cause I don't know anybody else.
All right, just a little time check. It is 8:20, and I have the door open.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, he knows.
Okay.
When I read our messages, I realized that I said something on Fridays. So
Okay.
until I'm told on the record.
Okay.
We didn't say anything. Okay. But I wanted to say with that whole topic, so we store trauma in areas, right? So that trauma gets stored in
Yeah.
that's what's this sacral chakra?
So it's in our solar plexus, so
Okay.
right below the heart.
Yeah.
That's where our trauma is stored energetically, but physically it's stored in our shoulders. So your masculine trauma is the right shoulder, and your left shoulder is feminine trauma. So if your shoulders hurt, like you'll understand why. So
What was I just talking
Trauma.
about last episode? The episode before, I said I'm trying to work on like my posture with my shoulders because sometimes I feel like my shoulders are heavy, like they're like, and I don't like the way that I sit.
carrying the traumas.
Well,
And
get off.
yes, we have
Go
to
with this
forgive.
stupid.
Yes.
She hasn't been around in a while.
Yay.
I forgot how she.
Forgot she
I
existed.
forgot she existed. No, literally.
I love that.
Miss Stupid was one of my favorite things to come from like any of our conversations, only because like it gave you like a way to really
Recognize her.
and flicker. It's like a little. It's actually like a little.
Instead of ignoring her, if you ignore her, she don't go away. Just like the screaming child, if you're ignoring it,
It doesn't go away.
Stop screaming. Like,
I don't get why. You would be. I don't know why
you
people
have
don't get
to,
it.
right? You have to address.
So, well, so that's food for thought for you guys to think about when you're having kids, you know. And if you have kids and you circumcise them, you can't change that. So this isn't us trying to guilt you. Or
No,
I
feel
do.
like, any type of way or anything like that. It's more so just of like, we need to be. You know what I think
Bringing
the lesson
awareness.
is being more aware of the things
Yeah.
you say are normal. Because where did it actually?
Not
come from?
And
normalizing.
if you just have this weird feeling, and you know, go with your mom gut. Mom's always. It's weird how the universe works. Like you just know.
I wonder if most moms know what the circumcisions. It's almost like when you get your cats.
They don't.
De-nailed or
Declawed.
declawed. You don't realize that they're chopping off the tips of their fingers so that they don't grow back. My mom, she's never let herself live that down because she had gotten both of our cats declawed before she realized what it was. I wonder if that's like kind of like the situation with women where like the norm is you know that men are circumcised here in America. So when it comes time to circumcise your son, you're like, yeah. You don't even like, to be honest, who knows if we didn't have this conversation if I really would have ever thought about it. Like what if I was having a boy in 2 weeks and we didn't have a conversation?
You don't
Probably
think
would have
about
gotten
it.
circumcised.
It's not. You don't think
It's
about
not, well, it's not
Yeah.
talked about.
Yeah. No.
It's
We're
normalized.
just told it's normal, and so like, and that's why we're in a lot of old habits, bad habits, stuff like that, because that's normal.
Mhm.
Well,
It's the
no.
procedure.
Not across the world. It's not.
Only in the United States.
There's a lot of things that are normal here that aren't normal in a lot of other places, but